Greetings, YouTube. Here is my Miller's Falls V-line vise, which I love with all my heart. This thing is so darn useful. And if I'm going to put something horizontally, for example, this shaft here, which is a Guten Dog, which I I can't say it right, it's Dutch, but it's an anti-armor weapon designed for people who don't have a lot of skill. If I want to do that horizontally, it's real easy. I put it in here, use a clamp, boom, rock solid. Problem is, if I want something this way, if I'm working vertically on something, and occasionally I do that, I get this. And particularly if it's a round shaft. If it's just a square shaft or a rectangular shaft of something, that's fine. But if it's round like this, I'm not getting as many points of contact and I get too much motion. So what I want to do is I want to have something that comes off of the bottom here that will act as a support that I can then clamp this to steady it. Now I've done it a couple of times just on the fly, and it worked, but it wasn't the best design, and I really wasn't 100% happy with it. And it was kind of because I was like I was clamping one thing to the leg and then clamping that to the object I've already clamped. Yeah, it was kind of hinky. So what I want to do is I want to create a support, and I'm going to use this here, and I want to come off of this bolt hole right here. This is a hole that goes all the way through, so I can put a lag bolt right through that, and that way I can mount this thing vertically. I'll pre-drill a hole. I'll get that in there like that. It'll be nice and secure. Now to give it vertical support, I'm going to use this right here, a piece of this, which is from another project. This is from another project, so these are essentially just recovered from my shop. They cost me nothing. And I'm going to create I'm going to put two bends in it and then put 45-degree angles here so that I end up at a 45-degree angle support underneath it, and that creates a triangle, which is incredibly stable, which is good, which will then give me a lot of support in the vertical, either going either direction, though, you know, coming up probably isn't much of an issue. But it'll give me nice stability in the vertical. However, it isn't going to give me any support in the lateral, side to side. And that's really what I want to do, is I want to create something I can clamp to that's going to give me that lateral support. So I've got two legs which have two holes, right? So if I use two of those and then I put a shelf on top, that will give me the lateral support, because I'll be connecting from side to side. Not to mention I'll have this backed up against the legs themselves, and that will then create the stability I need for this particular device, as well as a new shelf. Now I'm probably going to have to put a lip on it, and I'm going to put a back on it. I'm going to put the back on with this. Now this is a piece of sheet metal, 100% salvaged, cost me nothing. This is salvage as well, also cost me nothing. It's wood. I have no idea what kind of wood. I don't know if it's actual wood. It's not MDF, but I don't know what kind of wood it is, and it's got this kind of veneer on it to make it look good. Regardless, I'm going to be using the whole thing in one piece like this, because it's the exact same width as the table, which is very, very convenient. But not really shocking, seeing as this is a standard piece of plywood I picked up off the shelf at a big box store that I didn't cut. So this is probably, you know, designed to be the same width. Again, standard widths. So this is going to become my shelf. That piece of sheet of metal will become the backer, and I'll put that in first and then shove this against that. That'll hold everything in and give me a nice clean edge here. These will give me the vertical support I need, and I'm going to want to put some kind of a lip on the other three sides, because I want to put things on this shelf, and this table does undergo a fair amount of vibration, because when I'm working with something, particularly if I'm using like an angle grinder or a hand saw, or even an oscillating saw. I have a Dremel oscillating saw. That thing creates a lot of vibration, and I use that a lot when I'm working on shafts to create slots and stuff. So this table undergoes a lot of vibration. So if I want to put anything on this shelf, I'm going to want a lip so that the things will not fall off. So I'm going to need to do that, and I'm going to be using probably angle iron salvaged from a bed frame which I got for nothing. So again, this is a low-cost project. At the moment, everything in my shop, everything I'm looking at the moment is coming out of my shop. There's no additional fasteners whatsoever. And I'm sure I'll be able to find the fasteners I need to attach this to the leg on the bottom, because I'm just going to drill a quarter inch hole right through there and use 1/4 bolts, and I got lots of those. So very happy with this overall design. I think it's going to be simple, it's going to be effective, it's going to do exactly what I need. I'm going to dig around and see which size lag bolts I've got that are long enough to get through there and are the right diameter. I don't know yet. I've got quite a few options. I'm going to dig around and find some of those, and then figure out if I have any pre-made bolts for 1/4-20s. I think I do, that are the right length, because that means otherwise I'll just use threaded rod and make my own bolts. That's the beautiful thing about all thread. All thread is your friend. You can make bolts of any size anytime you want. And then when I'm done, I'll be able to clamp things like this to the shelf from underneath, because this will be there for me to grab. And I'm probably also going to put a 45-degree cut in this just to clean up, just to pretty up the end. So I'll figure out how long I want this, mark it, cut a 45-degree there just to make it look better on the ends, deburr and all that stuff. I probably just do that by hand. I've only got to make the one cut. I don't think it's worth getting my wood saw out, my 10-inch chop saw. I just don't think it's worth the effort. But I can do that one by hand, and then put the whole thing together. So this is going to hopefully not be an overly involved project. We'll find that out, but everything I do ends up being overly involved because I always seem to screw something up along the way. For example, I split this right there, but you know, that's not coming out, so I'm not too concerned about it. These were difficult to do because I had to like open up, but drill the holes with one size and then open up because I didn't have a drill bit big enough that would fit in my drill press. Yeah. Problems. So yeah, first thing up, gonna take some measurements, cut those things, get the pre-drilled holes, find the lag bolts, and then figure out about how I want to bend these, because I need to get these 45-degree bends in either end so that I can create a 45-degree triangle for the vertical support. And to show the versatility of my Miller's Falls vise, here it is on my drill press, which is now holding this vertically, so I can drill a pilot hole for this, which is a 7/16 lag bolt. And I'm using this because it's exactly the same diameter as the hole that's already there, which means I'll have a lot of stability, and it's the right length. So I'm actually going to have to drill this a little bit deeper by hand after, but I'll have a pilot hole that way because I didn't set the height right. I get this, so I'm going to have to drill this in because I got to go 2.5 inches in. So when I'm done with this, I'll just do the rest with the power, with the hand drill. But this is nice. I'll show you how it goes. I can do this. I think I can do this like I am now. Still haven't fixed my drill yet, so I don't have a spring here, so I got to hold that in place with a cord. So there you go. That works beautifully to hold that vertical, which makes my drill press much more versatile. Here we have all the components for the project. So we have the two horizontal pieces, which were going to be what end up being what I clamp things to hold stuff vertical with my Miller's Fall clamp. This is the shelf itself, which I had to do nothing with as far as breaking it down. These are the two supports. I decided to go with angle iron front and back because I remembered that there was a diagonal brace on this table, right like that. That would get in the way of the sheet metal. It'll be much less in the way with just this shorter guardrail. And we're going to have one in the back. The one in the back is going to be the one that's got holes in it because, again, you won't see it as much. This one at the front, which has no holes in it yet, that's going to be in the front. These are the two diagonal supports for the blocks. This will be the top, that will be the bottom, and these two are the side pieces, and this is going to be the show piece, which will be here on the left, and then this one will be on the right because it's got a notch that was originally some sort of a stop, as well as a partially ground off a bolt of some variety that was press fit in there at one point in the past, or a pin. So now I have to do a whole bunch of drilling. So what I need to do is I've got it figured out that I need to come in 0.812 on the distance to get on the center of this. So that's my goal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this first. This will become the template for this and this, because I want to pre-drill everything as much as possible. This is going to be just a through hole. That will just be a through hole. This is going to be a true through hole. This is going to be a little on the snug side because I want some gripping power on this, and that will be an undersized hole so that the threads on the screw do bite into it. But I do want to pre-drill that. Be a copy of this one on the other side, just mirrored. And then I'll have 3 fasteners on both of those, and I'm only going to use 3 fasteners on this because these are just stops. These are not doing any extra work. These will be going through into this, so they're going to be doing extra work. So I want 3, even though they're fairly close together, because they're going to be doing more effort. I've got the lag bolts, which will be going in here. That's why I have these dots here set up. I realized that I had to go in a minimum of that. So yeah. Gotta make sure I don't screw that one up. So, because I can't go in, because if I go in too far to the end, I'm going to end up hitting the threads, which will be sticking in about that far. I'm going to confirm my settings before I go about start drilling stuff. But this is all the stuff broken down into and modified to its final form. So I knocked all these corners off so that they'll all nice and be tidy when I'm done. This is not going to look like a picture frame, take my word for it, but at least they won't interfere with each other, and that's what I care about. So let's do some final measurements to make sure I'm correct in all my stuff. Remember, measure twice, cut once, because I don't want to have to make things over again. I have done that far too many times in the past, so I'd like to avoid that this time. So let's do some final checks, and then it's going to be drilling a whole heck of a lot of holes. Okay, so I have the holes now drilled in this one and this one. I have not done this one yet. And these were just kind of, I found the middle and I just put 2 on the other side of that. And I don't even know what the measurement was. But I chamfered it and they come through, and these are the screws, the wood screws I'm using here on this one. I know they're Phillips, I don't much like Phillips, but I had them in my collection, so they cost me nothing. This is a no cost project so far. And the chamfer on there, they come really nicely flush with that, and they just kiss the other side. I can just feel the tip, but I don't care if they're sticking out, a 32nd of an inch from the bottom. I'm not going to be on the bottom of the shelf, so I don't care. And I put this one in already because I'm using that as the point of reference for the other pieces, because that's what matters. So I want to make everything coming off something that I can use as a firm, tally mark, I guess. I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember what that word is. Sorry. You'll have to blame code for that one. Didn't do much for my ability to remember words. But I got the 2 holes for both. I decided to go with 2 because I forgot about the angle. So I couldn't put as many holes in there as I really wanted to. So we're going to have 2, and they're going to be that distance apart. They're going to come off like that, so that's the distance it's going to have when it's done. I had to remember that slope in there, because otherwise I would have had to, a screw coming right through, and that would have bugged the crap out of me. So I just wanted to show you how far I've gotten so far. I'm calling it quits for the day. For me, it's Christmas Day 2022. I don't know when you guys are going to see this video, so I'm going to go upstairs and have Christmas dinner with my wife. We don't really celebrate it much, but she's making some special vegetarian stew. I've never had it. I don't think it's one we've ever tried. And I got myself some turkey kielbasa to go with it, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. So this is what I got done for the day. So I'm happy with this, and all of these are now in their final form. This one I have not decided yet. It's going to have to be tweaked, because once I get all of those installed, this will be the last thing. I mean, I think this is going to be the one that comes off of those, you know what I mean? So this is the one that has the most flexible size, so I can make it anything I really want to make it fit into this. It's probably pretty close right now, but we'll see when I get to the final bit. But now that I have this reference mark, is that the word I was looking for? Reference? So I don't know if it was or not. But I got that as a reference mark, so I'm happy with that. And it's nice and flush with the back, so that means it'll be nice and flush with the inside of the legs on the table. So it's coming along nicely. So, time for Christmas dinner. I hope all you folks had a good one too. And the next section, I'm hoping we'll wrap this up. All right, we've finished the main build itself. So the horizontal supports are on, the shelf itself is on, and the rim the edging is all the way around. And it actually came out pretty good. I mean, like I said, it wasn't going to be a picture frame, but a number of these corners came out pretty nice. And I think the reason this one didn't, because I think one of these pieces of railing is a slightly different width than the others. I think one is asymmetric. It's like one dimension is exactly the same and the other dimension is slightly off. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I don't really care a whole lot why. It isn't perfect. For example, this came out really nice on this end, but this end's a little bit on the positive side, but I'm not going to worry about that. And if it does become an issue, I can always just easily disassemble it and make a modification to it, because it's only being held in place by 3 wood screws. But yeah, everything else, this is nice and rigid and solid. So now I need to do is flip this over. I need to install both of these with those wood bolts, these lag bolts, and get that assembled. And then once that's done, it's the final stage of installing this. And once I get that installed, then I will be able to know where I'm going to be drilling the holes for the bottom, because everything else will be done. So right now, as soon as I get done with this section, flip this over, and I'm going to install both of those. I just broke out my ratchet set, which was free. I got that for nothing. Then we're going to do this. The only difficulty I'm going to have is getting this to sit where I want it to. So what I'm probably going to do is put a couple of clamps on the leg, and then see if I can get this to sit on those clamps while I put the bolts through. That way I can kind of hopefully get it relatively level, like relatively horizontal, until I can get these, at least part of the way in. And once they're all part of the way in, it's just keep ratcheting until you bottom out. So that's going to be the tricky part, is getting this to kind of, because I'm down here by myself. So get that to get lined up for me. That'll be that's one of those situations where you kind of wish you either had a helper bot or 3 hands. The shelf is fully installed, and after having fully installed it, I realized I didn't need these, because this thing is not going anywhere. It may be only being held in place with 2 lag bolts, but those lag bolts are 7/16 of an inch thick. They're not going anywhere. They're going through that 2-inch leg, and they're pulled nice and tight. Absolutely rock solid. I do not need those supports at all. And it makes it cleaner. It means I don't have to drill holes more holes in my leg, which is a good thing. And now you see why I wanted to do this. So now I have this supported, and this is resting against the rods that run here. There's a threaded rod and a non-threaded rod, like here. This is the guide rod, and this is the threaded rod. So this is resting against those. It doesn't rest against this. So I do have to use a spacer block. But now that's absolutely not moving. I would move this table before I would be able to pull that thing out of the jaw, which is the point. I want to be able to have things nice and solid while I'm working on it, because when I was working on stuff before, it would be here, but it would start moving on me because I'd put pressure this way, and then it would start to pivot on me, because I was only really holding it in place in one spot, because it's an oval. It's not a square thing. If I was working on nothing but square pieces of wood, that would be something different. If I was using nothing but ballisters, that would be something different. But I'm not. I'm working on a lot of round things or oval things and stuff like that, or just weird handle shapes. So I need to be able to hold it in place in 2 spots, and this is going to let me do that. And like I said, putting a spacer block in there is a 0 issue. that is not something I'm worried about in the least. So I'm very happy with this setup, and I'm very glad that I was able to set this up without the braces, because again, it just looks cleaner, and it does exactly what I want it to do. I could potentially fix this one. I haven't decided if I'm going to. Right now, I've been working on this thing for like 3 weeks, and part of my process of this Christmas weekend was we got an inch of water down here in my basement because it was 54 degrees on Friday. It rained, like torrential rain, being wind driven. We had 35-mile-an-hour gusts, and the water just got into my basement. And then when I came back down here the next day, the water had gotten into the locking mechanism of the padlock on my door, so now I couldn't get into my basement. So yeah, it was a very frustrating. I lost an entire day production essentially because I got so pissed off I just walked away. Eventually I was able to run power from the garage and use a hairdryer to warm up the lock. But I couldn't do that the first day because the lock on the garage door was also frozen. Just wind-driven rain can be a pain in the butt. It gets everywhere. So this has been a very successful and functional operation. You can see I've already got stuff up on there that had been sitting on the bottom shelf of my table, but now it's not sitting on my bottom shelf of my table, and some of those things are stuff I use, like those rivets. I use those all the time, so now I don't have to reach down so far to grab them, which is awesome. I couldn't get that glue bottle up there. It doesn't fit. But I have a solution to that as well. I have a project coming up which will let me store containers of liquids more efficiently than I currently am, and that glue bottle is going to be one of the things I store in that. But that's going to be, wait a bit, I still have some other things I have to do, some shorter projects that are going to be infrastructure, and also a couple of short weapon builds, because I haven't actually done a weapons build in a bit. I'm working on stuff like this. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I did. I'm glad it's over. And I'm very glad with the results. The results are really quite cool. And this was a no-cost project for me. All of the components were either absolutely free or things I already had in my shop from other projects, or just, you know, fasteners I'd picked up in estate sale lots and things like that. So it was all very low. It was all low cost to purchase. I mean, literally the fasteners that went into this thing probably cost me a dime, if that. Probably less than that, actually. I paid $50 for thousands of fasteners, so I get probably pennies. So yeah, very happy. Now I do a little bit cleanup, and then I got to work on the next project today, which I think I can squeeze out in this morning, because it's going to be a short one. Alrighty, thanks folks for being here. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you'll come back for the next one.